It's me, Marita, with another video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please take this time to subscribe and enjoy the video. So this video is something that I've been wanting to share for a while, but I just never got around to it. It's kind of a sad story. So this is the story of when I lost my dog. Now, I don't want you all to think this is something that happened just like recently. It's been years now, at least about 4 or 5 years since I lost my dog. But I just wanted to share this story because I know there are some people who have lost a pet and they may feel like a guilt towards having grief about it. But I'm just here to let you know that it's a normal thing. Our pets are a part of our family. They become a part of our routine, our life, and we feel that void when they're gone. And so I just wanted to share my story of how I lost my dog. Her name was Baby. My sister first had the dog, and then when she had to move to a different place, she couldn't take the dog with her, so she gave her to me. And from that point on, I had her. So I had her for about 7 years. When I got her, she was kind of rough because she had been, outside a lot, but she was kind of like a prissy dog. She's a Japanese Chin mixed with pug. I'll put some pictures. I really loved her personality. She was a really sweet dog, cuddly, everything that you needed, but she wasn't like clingy. Like, she knew how to come when you wanted her, and then when you didn't want to be bothered, she knew how to like chill. So she was like the perfect dog for me. We matched really, really well, our personalities, and she was just a good overall, well trained in the home. I had to get her spayed because, of course, I didn't want to have to deal with all of the female stuff with her because she was a female dog. And so I kept her groomed. When I first got her, during the time that I had her, I was working. I was living at home with my parents, and I was working, so I would get her after work, and she would be home with my mom all day before I went to work. But she would just kind of stay in my room until I got home. And she just became a regular part of our family. Like, when you saw me after I moved to Chicago, I wasn't working, so she was with me all the time, riding in the car with me everywhere I went. She was just with me all the time. And then it got to the point where after I had the baby, we got kind of distant because I was focused on, the baby, and it got really difficult during that time. She had got demoted from being in the house to being in the basement, and that wasn't really her thing because she went from being at the top of the house, upstairs with me in my bed at my parents' house, and so now she's in the basement. So she was really sad. Towards the end of her life, she just seemed really miserable because I didn't have that time that I had with her prior to that. Like, it was just me and Baby all the time, and then all of a sudden it was just, she was alone a lot. And I felt a lot of mom guilt. Because I was so used to having her, and then I didn't have her anymore. So as much, or I wasn't, just giving her that time anymore. What happened was, I feel like it was March 31st, or I believe it was the end of March, because it was the night of, or the night prior to my cousin's wedding, and my sister-in-law had came to spend the night. I had rotted her hair, and the baby was in the bed. We were watching a movie on the projector. The surround sound was on. It was really, really loud, and I said, oh, I need to go get some shoes for the wedding tomorrow. And all my shoes were in the basement at the time. So I was like, let me go down in the basement and get me some shoes. Or on my way down, I saw Baby on the landing, and I'm like, oh, Baby, have I let you out today? She hasn't had her bathroom break for the night. And so I'm like, it's like 12 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I haven't let you out. And so she's looking like, let me out, please. So I let her out while I'm going down to get my shoes. And so I'm down there, and all I hear upstairs, boom, 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 whatever. I can't even remember the movie we were watching, but it was so loud. And I did hear when I let her out that there were some dogs barking, but we had a dog on the side of us. We had on both sides of us and in the back. So when I would let her out, you would hear the dogs barking because they hear another dog. So it was normal. But the barking in the back was a lot louder. And I was like, oh, he must be letting his dogs out too to go to the bathroom. So we have a gate. You know, we don't have alleys where I live, so it's just a gate to, you know, separate my backyard from my neighbor's backyard. And so what must have happened is that their dog, they had two dogs, two big size dogs. My dog is small, like no more than like maybe 12, 11 pounds. And so she went out to go to the bathroom, and I guess the dog came under the fence and got to her. So I come upstairs like, oh, I need to let baby back in because I've been down there looking for shoes for a while. And then I came back up and I'm like, baby, come in, baby. And she's not coming. I'm like, this is weird. Usually I call baby or she's already at the door waiting to come in. So I'm like, what are you doing? And so the light was off in the back. It was pitch black at night. And I'm like, I don't know where baby is. And so my eyes adjust to the dark and I just see something dark on the ground. And I'm like, it looks like baby is laying down, but she's not moving. What is going on right now? So I call my husband. I'm like, come and bring a light because I can't see baby and she's not moving and she's not coming to the door. So he puts his light out there and baby's just laying on the ground and her back is to us. So we can't see, you know, her face. And so then he lifts the light up a little higher, and at the gate further back in our backyard is a dog eyes glowing in the light. And so he's like, oh, the neighbor's dog must have came in our yard and killed her. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So of course I'm just like screaming. So he's calling his neighbor, I think your dog came over here and killed our dog. Can you come and, you know, get him? So the neighbor comes and I say, sir, can you just tell me, is my dog, you know, dead? Can you just tell me? He's like, she's gone, ma'am, she's gone. And I was just like, no. And I fell down and I just crumbled into tears. And I was just messed up for the rest of the night. And so, of course, the rest of my night was ruined. And the scary part is that I had considered going out there, but I felt like I'm so glad I didn't, because if I had gone out there, I believe that dog would have did the same thing to me and I wouldn't even have known that it was there, you know. It probably would have attacked me because it was obviously an attack dog. It was a violent dog. So I'm so grateful that I didn't go out there to baby and I went and was cautious, you know. And so, you know, that it was so late at night. So I went and put her blanket over her, and my husband was like, I'll take care of her, everything in the morning. And so of course we left to go to the wedding and he took care of that while I was gone. I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to anything. So all that is just history. But so what happened, and this is the story that goes into where, you know, people say, well, what did you do? What did you do to your neighbor for, you know, their dog killing your dog? And I'm like, I did file a police report. And the police said I could take them to court. I can get like $1,300, probably at the most. And I just felt like I just didn't feel like going through all of that. I didn't want to take my neighbors to court. I didn't want to do all that, but I did want to get some compensation for my dog being gone. And so I did call them and I said, look, I could either take you to court or you can pay me for this damage. You know, I don't have a dog anymore. You have two dogs and you still have two dogs, and I have nothing left. And one day I want to have, you know, children in my backyard. I have a daughter now who's not old enough to go back there, but someday I want my children to be able to play in the backyard. And will I have to be worried that your dogs are going to come and attack my children? And I don't feel safe, you know. And so they did give me some compensation. They paid, like I just said, just pay half of what you would pay at court. And I did that only because I'm a Christian, and I know Christians sue people and all that, and that's fine in its place, but I just feel like I didn't feel to do it. Like if I felt to do it, I would have done it. But I just felt like forgiveness was the best way to go in this situation, because I just did not want to have bitterness and be angry and upset about this. And so when I think about it, and me being the person that I am, where I'm always trying to find the good out of a situation, all I thought was, baby was really sad. You know, she didn't have me the way she had me before. She didn't have my attention the way she did before. And so I feel like she left at the time that was right for her. And that brought me some comfort that she wasn't miserable, but I just hate the way that she passed away. I hate that she was killed by her own kind. Like, I always thought that she would die of old age or you know, something like that, but I never imagined that another dog would kill her. Like, I never imagined that she would ever leave that way. And it was very hurtful, and I wake up still in tears. I wake up with dreams about how she passed away, because I did research how does a big dog kill a small dog, and then I saw the whole, you know, thing in my head, and I'm like, oh God, why did I do that? But I just was like, how did the dog do it? And it's just unfortunate. So yes, that is my story of my dog. I love Baby. She was, to me, my first child. I always consider her as my first child, and I always said I'm going to give her some siblings one day. And so when I had my daughter, I just thought that, you know, they would grow up together, and she would, you know, and my children, I tell y'all, my children love animals. They love dogs. And it hurts my heart that they never got to know Baby. Like, Lauren was 6 months when Baby passed away, and she never got a chance to have a dog, and they want a dog so bad. But I haven't had a desire to have one since Baby. Like, Baby was my baby. You know, that was my dog, and I just can't imagine another dog. And not saying that I never will, but I just never had the desire for it. And I just felt like no other dog could compare to her, because she was just the perfect dog. She was so sweet, y'all. Oh my goodness, Baby. So yeah, life changed for her when we moved to Chicago. I just wasn't as focused on her as I had been before, as far as just like keeping her up. But I had so much time with her because my husband worked from like 3 to 11, so it was only me and Baby for so long before I had my real child, when I had Lauren. So 2.5 years almost, it was just me and Baby hanging out, and we got really close. And I really miss her. Even with my children here, I still miss my dog. I still miss having Baby, because she was just such a sweet dog, and I just think that she would have been so happy to have siblings, and they would have loved her. So that's my story. I'm actually at the point where I can talk about it without getting super emotional. There was a time when I always cried, either after I talked about it or when I talked about it, but now I can finally talk about it. So, and some people may feel like, you know, it's just a dog. Why do you feel so bad about a dog? But she was a part of my family. All my family knew Baby. All of my family, my extended family, everybody knew Baby. And she was just a very special part of my life. She came into my life at a time that was very difficult, and she was kind of a part of my healing process. And she was just there for me. She was there. That was my baby. And I just hate that she had to pass away the way she did. But, you know, things happen as life, and you just forgive and you move on. So that's kind of where I am with that. And I said I did get some compensation from it, but of course that never would bring my dog back, and it never would it wasn't enough, you know, as much as what I paid, you know, to keep her up or whatever. But it was something. So I was grateful that they did, you know, cooperate in that way. But you know, and for all those who have lost a dog or a cat or any kind of pet that was really important to you, big hugs to you. It's okay. I've been there, and it does hurt. They had personalities. They had a life. They were breathing, and they had a part in our lives. So there's a void there. So I love you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and let me know your stories. Do you have a dog? Do you have a pet? Do you have a cat, mouse, rat? I don't know. Some people do have gerbils and hamsters, all that stuff is the same thing as a mouse and a rat. A fish? What do you have? I want to get a fish for my children now, so they can kind of get the idea of having a pet. They're not old enough for like a dog yet. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in another one. Bye.